Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Welcome to Chicago, where the fire serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Rock and Big Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy. Episode 101. The Dalmatian episode is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, ACSI, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirts. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your official TCSF shirts now.
Right now.
As always, I am Big Z, and I'm here with my homeboy, E-Rock. What up, E?
What's up, Z? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. If you are a first timer or a long timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review on your listening app of choice. You can find us on Facebook at True Chicago Fans. You can follow us on Twitter at True Chi Fans and on IG at True Chicago Sports Fans. And don't forget, you can support the show with a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. Go on over there, click on support, and you can subscribe to the show for as low as 99 cents a month. Listen, do you like the show?
I do.
Are you a fan?
I am.
Then tell your friends, and they will tell their friends, and we can all be friends. If you enjoy the content, share it with your friends, your family, your neighbors, your loved ones, your coworkers, whoever it is. Share the content because we do it for you. We hope that we can bring a little bit of joy, levity in your day, and talk to you guys about sports. This is we're going into the next season, I guess, right? We're at 101 now, right? So we now we got to strive for 200. I think that's the direction where we're going. So it should be fun. Z, how are you doing, brother?
E, it's been a wonderful week of vacation. Week number 3. It's been fun. Lots of fun in the sun, pool time, out there on my bike, out there walking the dog. Really just having a great time, not waking up early and watching a lot of sports. The NBA Finals was amazing. We got baseball every day. Finally got a haircut, which is great because, I was looking like a werewolf for the past 3 months. So it's been productive pretty much. I mean, I've been doing some chores for my mom. Her Jeep's got some, it looks like I think it's not transmission. Yeah, I think it might be the transmission cap or something like I don't know, some shit I gotta fix. It's gonna be expensive, put it that way. So parts I ordered, I gotta fix that next week. So it's gonna be fun me being under the Jeep in 100-degree weather. So I'll be dropping some pounds. Also, just want to celebrate my nephew's Felix. His birthday was this past weekend. He just turned 1. So my brother from another mother, they just celebrated. They were out in the Forest Preserve out there in Martin Grove area. It was nice. It was like literally they had like this one, you get those little patios, right, with the little house on it. They literally had that one section to themselves, and it was just like woods, and you can see deer in the background. It was nice to be in nature, nice to be out in the sun. It was like 70 degrees that day, so it was literally a perfect day. So I'm enjoying this vacation. I think Monday I go back to reality of opening my 899 emails and paying bills. How was your week?
Hey, man, we had a fantastic week. First and foremost, let me wish a happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
That's right, happy Father's Day.
And the other thing that is today, June 19th, y'all get to we record on Sundays, so y'all get to hear it on Tuesdays, but today is also the celebration of Juneteenth. And if you do not know what Juneteenth is, it is basically a federal holiday in the U.S. It is commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. It is the anniversary of the announcement of General Order Number 3 by the Union Army General Gordon Granger on June 19th, 1865, proclaiming freedom for the enslaved people of Texas. Basically, the people that were enslaved in Texas were the last to know. So these were the last slaves to be freed in the United States. And again, 1865, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you think about like how short of a time that was not that long ago. So really kind of keep that in mind when you think about why people celebrate this, why it's important to people, because I mean, this is just not that long ago, right, that we've had to deal with slavery. And you see that the way that time has progressed and time that, we expect equality to be around now, and it's not necessarily always there. And we see that in the news every day. So if you do not, know or you do not celebrate, this is a day to celebrate not only your Father's Day, your grandfather's, but also Juneteenth celebration. As far as me personally, I got to say we had a fantastic week. Softball practice. Our last game of the season was on Thursday because our Monday game, our opponent actually forfeited because they didn't have enough players. Gotcha. Thursday, we played the other local team in our organization. We beat them, which gave us the best overall record. And after the game, we all had pizza and all that stuff, and the representatives from our organization went over to the meetings to determine playoff seeding, and it was determined that our team with the most number of wins is the number one seed going into the playoffs starting up this next week. So I couldn't be more proud of my group of 12-year-old girls, our coaches, Coach Lindsay, Coach Tom, Steve, all of the parents that have been involved with this season. I mean, this has been one of the most amazing seasons, and we just hope we can get it to continue. We got game Tuesday. We got a game Thursday if we win that game, and then our championship game is going to be Saturday. So hopefully we'll be able to make it to Saturday. And this has been a fantastic ride. Wow,
I mean that's congratulations to those girls. I know they been working their butt off to get to this because it's been a long road. I mean, I remember you guys talking about it last year and how they needed that growth, they needed that seasoning still, and you can tell now that these girls are seasoned now. They learned from their mistakes last year, and they've grown from it. And you can tell in their record and the way they've been dominating with the big leads that you've been showing me. We won on by 45-3. Yeah, so it shows that you guys as coaches have been putting a lot of work, and the girls have been doing a great and phenomenal job. So good luck to them, and get that trophy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's what we're looking at in a week from now. That's what we're going to be celebrating when we're over there watching the Cubs and Cardinals in St. Louis. And the funny thing is that I took a step back. I almost ran over a group of three young ladies that are parents of the girls, and they just happened to be behind me when I stepped back, and I felt something, and I was like, oh, I says, if I would have kept walking, it would have been like a bowling ball running through it. we were all kind of laughing, and I was like, look, man, I watched a lot of crappy softball to get to this point, so I couldn't be more proud. The girls were screaming on field. The funny enough is that Coach Tom was the one that went over, because we were all hanging out, right? The girls still in their uniforms, they're kind of hanging out in the outfield, and he went over there and told them. All of a sudden, you just hear them all screaming and jumping up and down. And then about 10 minutes later, we look around, and the one girl, the quietest girl on the team, is standing at the mound practicing pitching. She's never pitched before, but she was, you know what I mean? So it was kind of dope to see her get excited again about playing. And this is the kind of girl that, like, every time we're supposed to be in the dugout, I turn around, she's over there with her parents. I'm like, you have to stay in here with us. Like, you cannot, this is the team. Once the game's over, you go to the parents. Yeah. So just to see her, the quiet kid on the team, who's actually gotten 3 game balls this year for getting hits, because she's not in her own head, right? She hasn't been playing. She doesn't have that, like, failure in the team, so she doesn't have that doubt in her head, right? So it's been pretty damn amazing. And look, I mean, this is the best way to start off our summer. But for the ladies and gentlemen out there that might need a fresh start, let me tell you about a great opportunity with our friends over at ACSI. With over 50 expert technicians in the Chicagoland area, ACSI offers a one-stop shop for telecom wiring, whether residential cable installation, fiber to the home, or commercial structured cable wiring. ACSI is a proud partner of both Comcast and Astro'd, powered by RCN. Fans, let me tell you the most impressive thing about ACSI. The ACSI crew did their thing during the COVID-19 pandemic, and ACSI was awarded Hacia's 2020 Contractor of the Year award. The best part is that ACSI is growing bigger and better than ever. ACSI is now hiring for field sales, technicians, and project managers. Check out acsi.tech. That's acsi.tech and click on careers to apply today. ACSI is an equal opportunity employer.
Go get you a job.
Please go get a job this week. Of course, we're going to talk more about Chicago baseball because it's that time of year. We talk about this amazing streak with the Cubs going against the Atlanta Braves, the world champs. And how did that turn out? We'll talk about that. We also got some nuggets about the White Sox. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bulls. And of course, we got Stirring the Pot and What You Looking At. But first, this is the Big Three with Big Z.
Thanks, E-Rock. I'm Big Z, and you're not. Now for today's stories. Story number one. Oh, and this is you're gonna know what I'm talking about, E, because you know this name, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Wow, steps down as head of WWE. This is because there's allegations of misconduct. So he is the company's chairman and chief executive. So apparently he agreed to pay a secret settlement to an employee who he was said to had an affair with. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. So you know this story's legit because it's on the Wall Street Journal, right? I mean, I hope so. So longtime executive of World Wrestling Entertainment, Vince McMahon, who led professional wrestling from just a sideshow curiosity, kind of like, the circus, into a mainstream phenomenon, has stepped down as chairman and chief executive while the company board is investigating the allegations of misconduct against him. His daughter, who had just stepped away about a month ago, says she's going to take some time for herself. She's like the chief branding officer and so forth. She has been elected as the person to take his place as interim chief. So she said, I have pledged my complete cooperation to the investigation and a special committee. I would do everything possible to support the investigation. I have also pledged and accept the findings and outcome of the investigation, whatever they are. So this is crazy. And so it's him and one of his head of talent relations are accused of paying hush money to a female. And it looks like this female was hired as an assistant, and then the affair started, and then she got bumped up in title, and she went up from making $50,000 to $100,000 or something like that. So doubled her salary, and then I guess she was fired for some reason, and they're giving hush money. So this is a wild story, man. This is like life imitating art imitating life. And funny enough, Mr. McMahon came out this past week on SmackDown and, kind of like got the crowd going, and then just walked away. It was just weird.
Listen, and anyone who's ever watched WWE, heard Vince McMahon talk, or Stephanie McMahon or Shane O'Mac, anyone that you've heard talk over the past 25 years, you had to know at some point there's something shady. We see that the way that they treat talent, the way that they bring you in, use you and abuse you and drop you by the side of the road, you know what I mean, and don't even pay you at the end, right? So basically you're just laying there sloppy and and wait, hey, where's my money? So I mean, this shouldn't surprise anyone that the way that they treat their on-screen talent is similar to, it sounds like, the way that they treat their behind the scenes talent, right? So none of this surprised me at all. Vince McMahon is like 157 years old at this point. I'm pretty sure him and LaRusso are going to be sharing a room together in a retirement home. But neither one of these guys seem to know what's going on anymore. And even though we see Vince McMahon out there still trying to be the big boisterous guy that we've seen over the years, I mean, you could tell that he's just not the same. We've seen him come out to wrestling events. He's stiff. He can barely move. I mean, I'm surprised that he gets up, and through the ropes when he gets up in the ring. So the fact of the matter is that none of this surprises me. We're in an era where you're going to get called out for your bullshit, and if he is guilty of some bullshit, I'm glad that he's getting called out.
Yeah, it's just weird, is it? And like you said, they use their talent and abuse them, and the way they treat their talent as quote unquote independent contractors, but you can't do anything else without their permission. It's just bullshit. So I know Gigantor messaged me, and Jesse, my friend, who's a huge wrestling fan, messaged me too, and I'm like, I would not be surprised if this company is sold to Disney in the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is too is that what they've tried to do over, I would say over the past 10 years or so, they're trying to tone it down from the way that they kind of, when you had your
Attitude Era,
the Attitude Era, all that suck it and all the beer with Stone Cold and all that stuff.
That's all gone.
I feel like they have done a good job of kind of calming it down and making it more a little bit PG, a little bit more family friendly, because you got to think about it. In the past 10 to 15 years, the people that were teenagers and preteens when they were watching wrestling, well, now they're parents, right?
Yeah.
So now they're trying to raise their kids, and they're realizing, hey, maybe that's some of that stuff that they were talking about back in the day wasn't that appropriate. Maybe
not at all.
So yeah, I mean, like, and just like anything else, I mean, as time goes on, and you know, you get a little bit more PC, you get a little bit more sensitive to other people's issues and the way they absorb the content. So again, I mean, the fact of the matter is that we're hearing this news. None of this surprises me, because you can't do shit now without getting caught. So like I said, if he deserves it, and if he's guilty, let him be guilty.
Yeah, and you know, it might be time for him to you know, go to greener pastures.
And again, retirement home. Take a TLR with you.
Yeah, that dude's gonna die back there. He's not going to retirement home. All right, story number 2. Oh, this is right up your alley, sir. A bus driver says he didn't know his gummy snacks included THC.
Huh.
Yeah, a commercial bus driver has been charged with 38 counts of reckless endangerment after blacking out behind the steering wheel while snacking on gummies. He said he didn't know they were infused with THC. Jin Huan Chen appeared Tuesday in Bridgeport Superior Court after being arrested at his home in Boston. Chen was driving 38 passengers from Mohegan Sun Casino on March 13th when he stopped the bus on the side of Interstate 95 in Stratford. Police said they found Chen slumped unconscious in the driver's seat next to an open package of Smokies edible cannabis-infused fruit chews. Yeah, I mean, obviously his toxicology test showed that he was high as hell, but it's just common sense. Why don't people read anymore?
I mean, look, I don't mean to pick on the guy, but I look at that last name and his whole name. I mean, I'm not sure that he might not have understood what it said on the package, right? I had a delivery driver this week bring over some food, I want to say Friday, and he calls me at the door at work, and I go over there, and he's like, sorry, no Coke. And I'm looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, no Coke, no Coke. And I'm like, dude, there's 3 cups in this cup holder. What are you talking about? And he's just looking at me, and he showed me one of the cups was empty. And what happened was he spilled it in the car, and it was just a $5 bill sitting in the other empty spot of the other 3 drinks that were sitting in a cup holder. So then I understood what the hell he was going. He was like, oh, I dropped your pop. Here's $5. Sorry. You know what I mean? That's what that was.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, no Coke, no Coke. And I'm like, dude, there's 2 things of Coke right here. So it could have been a simple misunderstanding, a simple, like, does that make sense? Like, that's how I feel about a story like this. But I mean, this is not the first time it's happened, and I'm wondering, what did he like? Was he like in his house? His kids had it sitting around, something like that. And that's how he grabbed it. Like that's what I suspect might have happened in this situation.
Yeah, he said through his interpreter he didn't know it was marijuana. So obviously English is not his first language. So there's your biggest thing right there. You know. And unfortunately, he's ordered a $25,000 bond set next court date, which will be August 25th. And he's a manager. Victor Chen, the manager of Go Sun Tour, the bus company, told the Hearst that Jin Huan had been driving for a Boston-based company for over 10 years with an exemplary record. So he's a great worker. He looks like he made an honest mistake. Unfortunately, for people that have English as a second language, this can be something that's confusing.
Right. I mean, like, imagine if you and I went to China, we just start eating random shit. We're like,
nope.
You just ate like roaches' anuses, and you're like, oh, that was not what I thought that was at all. You didn't describe it properly. Also, I don't know your language, so who knows
where's the
what's gonna
pictures?
happen? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like happened in this situation. But man, look, it sucks. It sucks for him, and I hope they don't hold it too harsh against him, because I really don't think that this was his intention.
No, and the good thing is that no one was hurt. The 38 passengers, no one was hurt. He pulled over. He said he wasn't feeling well. He pulled over and he passed out. So it should be a good ending to this. So hopefully he gets a slap on the wrist.
All right, good luck, guy.
All right. Story number 3. Yes, the Warriors.
Come out and play.
Yeah, they came out and played, bro. They won their 4th title, winning in 6 games to knock out the Celtics of Boston. We do a lot of Boston stuff here. And Steph Curry gets his first MVP from the finals, which is funny because didn't he get the MVP for the All-Star game too? And Draymond was like roasting him because he's like, hey, you finally got one.
Hey, look, this is what I'll say. I mean, we've been watching Steph Curry play for all these years. People want to knock him down. They want to say that he's not this, he's not that. He's never been the greatest player in the league. But at the same time, he doesn't have to be the greatest player in the league. He doesn't have to be the most talented player in the league. He is definitely the most decorated, the best shooter of all time in the NBA. There's no way to dispute that. He came out in game 6, scored 40 points. 34 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, this dude was been on fire. The one guy that you could have argued that could have taken it away from him was Andrew Wiggins with the way that he played. But, I mean, the one thing to remember in this series is that the Celtics were up 2-1. The Celtics were up 2-1, and the Warriors came back and won the last 3 games to knock them out completely. So, I mean, what you did is you tied up that series, and you knocked essentially by tying up that series, you knocked the Celtics out because Steph was not to be stopped, right? He went out there, he did his thing. Andrew Wiggins was such an important addition to this team, and he's already expressed interest in staying with the team. Yeah. He was the number 1 overall pick. He was the one that got flipped for Kevin Love with Minnesota when LeBron was coming back to Cavaliers. So, I mean, he has definitely had a very interesting journey to get to where he is now, to be an NBA champion. The other thing that I think is pretty funny is our boy Lionel Richie Jr.
Oh boy!
Right, Otto Porter is an NBA champion because he found his way. He found his way to the Warriors after his time in the league. You know, just being injured his whole life. I don't know what that was about. The other really, really important player and the really impressive player to really step up their game this season was Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, young guy. I mean, he's really kind of come out, done his thing, and I don't know if a lot of people expected that out of him. And I mean, this kid is only 23 years old, and he's only been in the league for 2-3 years. He was a number 1, round 1 pick, number 28 with the Warriors. Yeah. So I mean, look. It's really, really cool to see this team. A lot of people said that it was boring, this and that. To me, I think about the fact that you had Clay go down, you had KD leave the team after winning championships with them, and then he moved on, and he chose to go play with Kyrie instead of Steph Curry. Now, imagine how he feels right now. How do you look back at this and 4 years after the last championship, because they went through hell, they were the worst team in the league one year, and Clay had back-to-back knee injuries, and they come back and they win the whole damn thing. I wonder what KD is thinking about right now.
He's kicking himself in the ass with the millions and millions and millions of dollars he's stealing from New Jersey.
He's kicking himself in the ass with those long-ass shoes that he wears.
I mean, that big toe is the one that kept him out of the finals last year.
Hey, look, I'm just saying, man, like, to me, it's impressive. I mean, I'm glad I know a lot of people were rooting for the Celtics even actively on Monday night. We had because that game was forfeited, we had those crazy hurricane-like
winds,
weather conditions outside. We all had a team dinner over here near the house, and I think it was me and one other person were rooting for the Warriors to win that game 5, and the other people were like, "Oh, I want the Celtics." I mean, why? It's boring when this other team had to fight tooth and nail, go through several injuries,
several games,
and come back and win it. And it was well, they needed this guy and that guy. It says, you're telling me that Steph Curry needed Draymond to play well, needed Jordan Poole to play well, needed Andrew Wiggins to play well, needed Clay to come back from injury twice and play well. So you're telling me your fault against the Warriors is that they needed their team to play well? They needed their team healthy to play well and to come back and win a title? Like, that's ludicrous. That's silly shit right there. You build a team and you build your starting 5 because those are going to be the most important players on your team. When you're missing those players and you don't do well, you shouldn't be surprised. We talked about this last week with Sean, and he was talking about the White Sox, right? You need your players to play well.
Yeah, they got to be on. Yeah, they got to be on the field or the court or the pitch, wherever they got to be, or the ice. You got to be on the field, whatever. They got to play to make the impact. And Golden State was missing a lot of key factors early in the season. Steph wasn't 100% at all this year. Neither was Clay. And they still were able to gut it out during the finals. Steph was not himself. You saw that game where he had like 12 points. I mean, you could tell he was not right. And that for him to not make a three-pointer, that's just not like him. Another cool little story that I want to talk about is Juan Toscano Anderson. He is the first Mexican NBA player, Mexican descent.
Player of Mexican descent.
Thank you, sir. That's what I'm saying. Yes, to win a championship. So this is a pretty big deal. I know the Mexican national team tweeted Mexican power. Congrats for being the first player of Mexican descent to win an NBA title with the Warriors. So it's a pretty cool little story. If you didn't see him, he was the guy with the Mexican flag on his back. He's a young cat. He played during the season and played well, but obviously with the shorter rotation in the NBA Finals, I don't think he got that many minutes. But this is also a cool little story, man. 4.1 points, 2.4 rebounds, and 13 and a half minutes in 73 games. So people are like, oh, he just scores 4 points. Well, that team is like literally star-studded from top to bottom. So to get some playing time is kind of hard. What the?
Sorry about that. That was me. So one last thing I would like to mention before we get out of this segment is Sue Bird. Sue Bird, the wonderful NBA player, WNBA player, has been playing for 19 seasons. She has just announced that this season, the current season that's going on right now, is going to be her last season in the WNBA. It is fantastic. She is from New York. I was actually watching the show a little bit earlier today. Today she hit the dagger 3 to win the game for the Seattle Storm. And I mean, look, this is if you don't know her, get to know her, because she is very involved in the equality movement for women's sports. We talked about Title IX last week. Her partner is Megan Rapone. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right, from the women's soccer league, from the national soccer. So, I mean, this is like a power couple in women's sports, right? So, I mean, she has announced that this will be her last season. And look, congratulations on a fantastic career. She's amazing. The funniest thing is that one of the most, the biggest trending topic, I think either on Google or Twitter, was like looking to see where she went to college, because she looks so young. People are like, how are you in the league for 19 years? She's been around for a long time. And people, that's the thing, is that WNBA, you get some of these players that play for 20 years, and then what do? They go into coaching, they go into broadcasting. So this is one of those players who is one of, we're talking about a league that's only 25 years old at this point,
right? And
you're talking about a cornerstone person. You're talking about Candace Parker, Lisa Lobo, Lisa Leslie, and all these players. Rebecca Lobo, I'm sorry, Lisa Leslie, all these players, and Sue Bird is definitely one of them. Diana Taurasi is another one. So there's a lot of these cornerstone players right now that are kind of transitioning from that first wave of very talented WNBA talent and moving on to the next part of their career. So congratulations to Sue Bird for a fantastic career.
I'm Big Z, and that's news to me. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride. So do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yeah.
This is The Bottom Line.
And that's the bottom line.
In this segment, we discuss the biggest Chicago sports topic of the week. And this week, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is Chicago baseball.
Yes, sir.
So, E, what's going on with these Cubbies?
Yo, listen, when the Cubs went into a 3-game series against the defending champion Atlanta Braves on Friday, it was the first time since 1999 that a team with a double-digit losing streak would face a team with a double-digit winning streak.
Yep.
And somehow, the Cubs broke their streak by beating the Braves streak by winning 1-0 on a game in the game by a game-winning RBI by Christopher Morel in the bottom of the 8th inning.
This was nuts, man. This is nuts because literally everyone's like counting the Cubs out because they're like, oh, they're losing. They lost what was it, 8 games or 10 games straight, whatever it was.
10.
Yeah, and so everybody's like, "Oh yeah, bet the Atlanta Braves to put 10 runs on the Cubs and put that. It's solid money." And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay the fuck away from that. But I did put money on Acuna getting a hit and Morel and all these players to get a hit. And let's just say a couple of the Atlanta guys did not get hits and lost a little bit of money. Well,
No. Yeah, the Cubs were like, bing bong, nope, no.
and it's funny enough because I was at JD or some one of the guys was on the radio. They're like, he's like, yeah, you know, there's 2 streaks on there, but if you look at it, the Cubs have one of the best records and best hitting percentage and OPS and this and that on day games. And I was like, huh, really? I mean, it's that one little tad note. They'd be like, that might be the thing where that might tell you it might be a 1-0 game. And sure enough, you know, to God's ears, 1-0.
Look, I mean, the pitching performance was outstanding.
Yes.
Keegan Thompson, your favorite guy from SNL,
Yes.
he only allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. And I'm pretty sure he had, I think it was 19 whiffs, which was the most by a Cubs pitcher in
Sick.
10 years, blah, 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 whatever the hell it was. Robertson, he made it a little bit interesting with 2 walks in the bottom of the in the top of the 8th there, or 9th there, I'm sorry. But yeah, they managed to close it out. And funny enough, they came back the next day and they won 3-6. So right now the Cubs and Braves are playing. The Braves are up 3-0, and because we're not live, we can report that all we want. But interestingly enough, for the Braves, it not only marked their first loss in 15 games, but also the first time they even trailed a game in the last 46 innings. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why baseball is the best, because you have no idea what's going to happen on any given day.
Very true. I mean, that was a stat I was looking at too. It's just like, it's wild that they have not trailed in like, I don't know, a month.
46 innings.
What is 46? So you look at 9, you know, that's
It don't matter. It's
like
46 innings because it just makes it just go from day to day to day to day to day. It don't matter because you remember it could happen like from the 7th inning to the 9th inning in the first game and then all the way there. Yeah. All right. So look, congratulations, Cubs! You won the World Series of the day, just one day. Look, it's exciting. It's exciting, and not only for like a team with a bad record like the Cubs, but to go out there and beat the World Series champs who are like just absolutely on fire. We talked about them being on fire before, even though they lost Freddie Freeman with his free agency, moving over to the LA Dodgers. But look. This was it was just a very cool stat, and funny enough, I love when people bet against the Cubs and then it bites them in the ass. This type of thing was beautiful for me, because everyone's gambling now, right? That's the big thing. Everyone wants to gamble. Everyone wants to make a little extra coin on the smallest thing, the biggest thing, whatever it is. So I mean, that's immediately the first thing that I thought about when we saw the final score come across, that that 1-0 score. And I was just thinking about all the people out there, especially you White Sox fans out there, that figured you would make a little bit of easy coin betting against the Cubs.
Yeah, I don't really bet on teams winning or losing. I do individual stuff. So I keep my beak out of that hot mess. But I am part of like a Discord. That's an app, that you can have like a little closed circuit chat and whatever. And, it's a gambling chat, and, guys post this stuff. And, there's guys betting $500 for stuff like that. And I was like, when I saw the score, I was sick to my stomach, and I only lost $5. I felt bad for him. I'm like, how do you lose $500? And he was at the game. He was in the bleachers. He's like, well, at least it was a nice day, and I was in the bleachers, and I got to enjoy the game. I'm like, dude, you lost $500.
Hey, look, here's the thing is that the way that you and I think about $5, that's how some people think about 500, right? So it might not be that big of a hit to someone's wallet if that's just a drop in a bucket for them. But hey, win or lose, as long as people that go against my team lose their money, I'm happy. Next up, Frank Schwindel is headed to the 10-day injured list. He injured himself running to first in Game 2 of the Atlanta Braves series. Looks like he might have some back tightness, so he is going back on the IL. Alfonso Rivas is going to be recalled from Iowa. Schwindel has been an above-average hitter since that near grand slam back in San Diego when he got rerouted from going back to the minors, but he's hit just .242 and .307 since May 30th. So it might be a good time for him to take a little bit of a break. It sounds like he was back in his groove and almost getting demoted and getting re-promoted or whatever the hell it was that quick was very integral in kind of giving him a shot of confidence. But unfortunately, that back is starting to flare up again. He did have a little bit of issue with that injury back in spring training. So hopefully he can get back together soon and just add him to the list. We talked about White Sox injuries, but the Cubs have been decimated as well. I mean, you look at most of their starting pitching is on the injured list right now. Wade Miley cannot stay off. He's pitched, twice all season.
It's a joke because he was injured last year too.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a gamble, right? It's a gamble. I think he's getting to that point in his career and that age where it's probably time for him to shut it down. Stroman is still on the injured list. We saw him doing some long tosses today, so it looks like he might be coming back soon. But unfortunately, you look up and down the Cubs roster and you wonder why these really, really young players have been starting games and why they went on the 10-game losing streak. It's not just the talent on the field, but it's the talent on the pitching mound that's just not quite ready for major league hitting. And unfortunately, we're just adding another one to the pile.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Frank. I just think that he should be put in a lineup in short spurts. I don't think he's an everyday player, and I don't know who else you got that can cover first. But I know Wisdom's on his way back off the IL, right?
Yeah, I mean, talking about Frank, I mean, I think he's an everyday player, but I mean, again, I think he's a utility player, right? He's a guy. He's not a star, and you need guys on your team too, right? But the problem is that you don't really have any other stars on the team. You don't have these superstars. You look at Madrigal, he's on the IL. You look at again up and down the list, especially the bullpen and the pitching has been absolutely decimated. And unfortunately, that's what it is. I'm not sure about Wisdom. I know he had a little bit of an injury, but I'm pretty sure he's been back for a while.
Bodie's I'm talking about.
Bodie, man. Let me tell you something. I completely forgot about David Bodie. I forgot he was even on this team. That's how long it's been since I seen him. So, it was funny enough that I had an argument over the week, shocking, with someone on Facebook, and they're talking about, the Cubs have been decimated by injury and this and that. And so I says, you know what, look, I believe that if you're a talented team, you can have a next man up mentality. And I don't mean just by filling that position. I mean by the other players on your team need to step up. And I think that's one of the things when Sean and I were disagreeing about that last week, he's thinking, the players that come up from the minors need to fill in those roles. I'm saying the other players that are already on your team that are supposed to be superstars need to step it up a little bit more. I think that's where our confusion came in. But what my argument was against this guy, I'm like, look, you can't say that the Cubs have been decimated more than the White Sox because the Cubs players don't have as much talent as the White Sox players, right? So when you look at a team that's relying on talented players way more, and those players are the ones with injuries, you look up and down, Eloy, right? Yeah. Lubob had a little bit of an injury. Moncada's been kind of back and forth. Grandal has been out. Abreu has been there, but I mean, like you look at who else am I thinking of? That's been hurt on the White Sox. There's been pitching hurt. I mean, it's just been all over the place for the White Sox. And Tim Anderson is the guy I'm thinking about. Mm-hmm. So you look at what you're relying on from those 3, 4, 5 players that are supposed to be the cream of the crop on your team, and you have a couple other guys that are supposed to be talented as well. Those are the players that I expect to step up and take over some of the, seeing Abreu do better. right? Because he hasn't really been on top of his game all year. That's what I mean by stepping up. So to me, the White Sox have been decimated much more than the Cubs when it comes to something like that.
I think with the misconception or the confusion you want to say is that you're looking at the injuries on one team and the injuries on the other team. They're not equally weighted. If we lose a Tim Anderson and you lose a David Bodie, it's not equally. The amount of production that you're missing is not equal. And then what you're saying is, all right, everyone else on the roster, you need to step up and do a little bit more so that way you can equate for the loss. That's what you're talking about. So, right. That's exactly what you're saying. And I understand. And that's why I just stepped back and watch you guys argue, because I thought it made for great, radio. And you get there was some compliments I got this week for that little argument. But
that's great.
Yeah. Thank you to our listeners, especially my output crew who listens.
So speaking of the majors, a really great moment during Saturday's game, the Contreras brothers, which is Wilson and William Contreras. William Contreras playing catcher for the Atlanta Braves. They played against each other for the first time in the majors, and it was an emotional moment for the both of them when Wilson came up to the plate and his brother was catching. They had a big hug right before, and then he went out there and did his thing, and Wilson did his thing on that Saturday game. He was up there. Funny enough, today before the game, you had Clark the Cub with a sign saying that Wilson is Dad's favorite. And one of the Braves players knocked the sign out of his hand or hit him or something like that. And he was like, hey, and he's just holding up that sign. So I thought that was pretty funny. But Wilson did have a little bit of say about seeing his brother play in the majors.
It was an amazing day for me and my family. It makes me proud to watch my brother play against me in the big leagues. And it makes me proud how good he is behind the plate and at the plate.
Describe when you got to the plate today and you see him back there for the first time.
I almost got in tears when I saw my brother behind the plate. I gave him a nice hug. I love him so much, and I'm really proud of everything that he has done.
This is the first time that you got to see your brother play in person since Little League, especially getting the view from back there and his swing. Just what was it like?
It was an amazing experience. The last time I saw my brother play was in Little League, I would say 10 years ago, 13 years ago. And today I got a really good view of him. We're really blessed to be brothers and to be playing the big leagues. And hopefully we keep going for a few more years.
That's courtesy of the Marquee Network there. This is an awesome story. I mean, there's nothing better than to see two brothers who really appreciate what they have and to make it. And they also play the same position. I mean, it's just nuts. And they're playing for great historical franchises. I mean, it's just a great story.
I mean, once again, I'm going to rely on the fact that I equate Wilson to Yadier Molina, right, who had his brothers in the majors too, all playing catcher position. So it was just a really cool thing to see. This is one of those moments that makes you proud. I mean, he had you see your younger brother go up there. He had 2 hits on the day, but Wilson had 3, right? So Wilson went up there and did this thing. And yeah, I mean, this is just a really cool story. Now, funny enough, in the beginning of the game, Wilson went over to the starter Justin Steele, and when his brother came up, he says, "Hey, whatever you want to pitch, whatever you want to call, you do it. I'm not doing it." And Steele was like, "For real?" And he was like, "Nope, I don't want to do it." And then he came out later, and Justin Steele said after the game, he goes, "I let you do it because if I call something and I allow him to give up the run, I don't never hear the end of it." So I thought that was kind of a cool story coming out the end of it. But yeah, again, I mean, you look at the Molina brothers, Benji Molina, Yadier, and I forget who the other one. Bob, I don't know I don't remember that.
Bob, the adopted brother.
I mean, everyone knows. Old school or new school baseball fans know the Molina brothers. So it's just a cool and once again, it's another reason why I want the Cubs to hold on to Contreras and have it be your cornerstone. Right? That's what the Cardinals did when they were fighting back from being mediocre and middling teams and keep your cornerstone guy around, and that's just the way I think about it, brother.
He's been on a couple interviews where he said, I'm willing to resign. It doesn't matter. We can talk today, tomorrow, whatever. He's like, I leave it to my agent, but my agent has not called me and told me that there's a deal on the table. He's like,
I hope, honestly, I hope that the agent isn't sitting here gaslighting his ass, because I know that that's happened before. Yeah. I hope that he's not just going against his players' wishes, just trying to get a couple extra ducats out of this, because that would be really disappointing if we find out about that in the long run.
Yeah, that would be, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, he does sign here and he becomes a cornerstone. But he's a good dude. He
remains a cornerstone.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and he'd be nice to see him behind the plate for years to come.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I hope Wilson Contreras signs a 100-year contract, and and then he's ours forever. And then when he passes away, you can, instead of making a statue, just put him up there and like they do at the funerals now, where they just embalm you and like have you standing in the corner at a bar or something. We'll just do that with him, and then he'll be ours forever. So anyway, now that we got all the weird shit out of the way, Z, what's going on the South Side?
White Sox, White Sox, go, go, White Sox. Let's go, 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 White Sox. We're with you all over.
The White Sox finally look good playing some baseball, man. It was weird. It was weird to watch them play and actually be successful. They played Detroit, so that's probably why. Detroit isn't the highest level of competition right now. They swept Detroit in a convincing way. And at the moment, the Sox are split 1-1 with the Astros. We're recording on Sunday once again, and they're playing Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. That should be a great game. They picked up the first win at Minute Maid Park in 3 years.
I mean, look, it was amazing. It was the Sox first win in Houston since the 4-hit shutout from Lucas Giolito on May 23rd of 19. And, it seemed in some senses that was the foreshadowing of the end of the 2016-2019 rebuild, because you saw them kind of fighting back against one of these teams that won the World Series in that era there. And it's the first time that the Southsiders beat Justin Verlander,
correct,
former Detroit Tiger, since 2014, my brother. That is a long time to keep getting your ass whooped by one of the best pitchers of baseball.
Verlander's on par to get the damn Cy Young Award right now, so I'm not mad about that. He's been a monster in any uniform that he's pitched in. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, yes, no doubt. So, I mean, am I mad that he's just dominating everybody? No. The fact that we got to him, I'm super excited about. But 9 times out of 10, he's gonna kick our ass. So that's
what?
Go ahead.
You know what pisses me off about the fact that Justin Verlander is still kicking ass is the fact that he wanted to come to the Chicago Cubs, and the Cubs are like, nah.
Too much money.
He's 39 years old, and he's probably going to win another fucking Cy Young right now at that age, playing for a team that is fighting right now, right? The Astros are trying to get back to World Series. They're trying to they've had a lot of their players from that World Series team kind of leave. You had Correa leave last year. You had what's his name, the one kid that went up to the Blue Jays. Like, a lot of their players that have been around on the team for a long time just kind of went away. Right?
Well, it's time. You can't re-sign everybody. Yeah, you can't re-sign everybody. And then right now,
Springer.
Yeah, it's George Springer. And you got the Astros, who are like, I don't know, 10 or 12 games above everybody in their division. They're just dominating. Watching this team makes you see your deficiencies in your team. And what I mean by that is, like, we had trouble last year pitching there. They dominated. They kicked their ass. You seen Cease struggle, and then you seen Johnny Cueto do a really good job. And that's because you got a veteran that knows how to pitch to contact, is not afraid to get a little bit of contact, because he knows he's got 7 guys behind him that can pick up the ball. Now, what really is grinding my gears is that as soon as we get somebody up and ready to be back on the field, someone else is going down. And we talked about this countless times, week after week, about the injuries, but we're not surprised anymore. Again, Yohan Moncada, running the first. He's about 3 steps from first base. He grabs, you see the twinge in his hamstring, and then he's like in the dugout grabbing it, and they pull him out of the game. What are you doing, dude? You have one job. one job, and that is to take care of your body. I know it's a soft tissue that can reoccur at any point. I understand that. But there should be a yoga regimen, some Pilates, some all types of easy stuff for them to do. And I don't know what his nutrition is, but I know a lot of these guys go out and they go drinking and they go party when they're not playing baseball. And if you're dehydrated, that's where that's going to happen. So I don't know what's going on with Yoan Moncada. You know, it was the ribs, then it's the hamstring, then it's the COVID, and it's this and that. He's got a list a mile long of injuries and excuses. And at some point, if Burger gets any better on defense, Burger's going to take his job.
You know, the funny thing is that, you know, Sean last week kept referring to Moncada by his nickname, which is Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a very appropriate nickname, not because his first name starts with Yo. It's because he's up and down more than a freaking yo-yo. This guy is just all over the place. When he's healthy, you don't know what to expect out of him. You know what his talent level is. You know what you should be able to expect out of him.
Yeah.
But I feel like he does not perform, like we said before, to the back of his baseball card. He is not performing up to his standards, what he should be able to do. Now, I don't know if it's because of a lingering injury, because he is notorious for these soft tissue injuries. He's like the Alshon Jeffrey of the Chicago White Sox, right? Because and my fear is that at some point he's going to get tired of all this shit. And what's going to happen is that he's going to get popped for PEDs, because those are basically meant to help you get more healthy, you know, sustain your health. And that's exactly what happened with Alshon Jeffrey, because he was injured with a knee, like just cartilage and bullshit, like little bullshit injuries to soft tissue. And then the 1 year he had a career year right before he went to Philadelphia, he got popped for PEDs, because that's how he stayed healthy the whole year. So I'm wondering, and I'm hopeful that that's not going to be the case, but I'm fearful of it.
Yeah, and that's something that happens a lot in every sport, where the guys are like, oh, I heard about this thing I can take that's going to make me feel better. If it's not on the list, if it's not approved by your job to take, don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it.
No.
One, you're going to get popped, and that could be, if it's your first offense, I think it's 26 games or something like that, or it's just not worth it. Speaking of injuries, Liam Hendriks, right forearm strain. So the word on the street, this is his UCL, and this is an injury that he's had forever. He's always had his problem. So they're shutting him down for 3 weeks. 3 weeks without your ace closer. This is disgusting.
It is rough too, because your bullpen has been up and down all season too, right?
They're tired.
I mean, huh?
They're tired. They're in every game.
Well, and well, that's true too. That's true too. So it's a culmination of, you know, your starting pitching not always getting you to where you need to be, your hitting not being where it needs to be, and then what happens? You have to rely on your bullpen more and more and more, and now you get to the point where your closer is going to be out for at least 3 weeks, possibly more. Again, I mean, you know, yes, the injuries hurt you, but you have to have some type of depth, and I think that's one thing that the White Sox really don't have is depth. Well, and it could be because all of their talented players they've already brought up. These are the guys that they've been counting on. But again, what that tells you is that you need to restock your cupboards, right? This is what's going on with the Cubs right now, is that they had all their major league players up, and when they needed to trade, they had to trade guys off of the major league roster if they needed to address an area of concern. And the White Sox do not have those players to trade. They'd have to make a lot of big decisions on someone on the field if they were severely lacking in one position. And they are going to need Hendriks back, you know, and they got rid of Kimbrel, right?
Yeah.
So now you're over here, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for the future, and I am very worried about this team, especially coming into the month of July pretty soon and having to face all of your division rivals.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the closer situation, I think they'll be okay, because they have Kendall Graveman and they have Joe Kelly. Both have closed games before.
Joe Kelly been injured too, though.
Yeah,
and Graveman was injured.
Yeah, I mean, this team is literally snake bitten. Like, everyone on this team has had some time on the IL, and it's really just disgusting. But I mean, the good thing is the bats have been waking up. They've scored over 48 runs in the past week or something like that. So while the pitching is not there, the bats have woken up. You have Abreu actually hitting. You know, we saw Burger hitting burger bombs all week. Moncada actually was hitting until he got hurt. Larry has been playing pretty well this week, but that's how Larry plays. He plays good for a week and then he's bad for the next 4 weeks. So that's just Larry. Like you said, it's every game right now is important because you have to stack up these wins. Because right now we're going to play the Blue Jays next, and then we're going to play the Orioles. The Blue Jays are a bad team on the road. The Orioles are like yo-yo, up and down. You don't know which one you're going to get, right? They whooped on the Cubs, and then they get whooped by somebody else, and then it's just they're up and down. So you have no idea what to expect with the Orioles when they're going to come up and play. TA is making his return back to the lineup next week, which is going to give us a spark, but again, you don't know how long it's going to take him to get back to major league speed when it comes to hitting and fielding and all that. But like you said, all these games are very much going to be important because they face their division, and if you can't beat your division, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is that I don't look past the just because they're not a good road team. Don't look past to the Blue Jays because they're very good players.
They're a very good team. They're a very good team, but their splits are horrible.
They're caught in a hard division. I mean, the Yankees are on fire. The Red Sox been good. The Rays are good.
The Yankees have 16 losses. 16. Yankees only have 16 losses.
I know.
And the White Sox put 3 on them.
It's incredible, and you look at the division right there. I mean, you look at the Blue Jays; they'd probably be like the best team in a lot of other divisions around the league right now. So it's unfortunate for them that they have to play in that division, but just don't let their record fool you because they are not as bad as what they look. But again, you're hoping that their road streak and their road play continues for the sake of the White Sox, but don't count them out because that is a very talented team.
Yeah, agreed. Like you said, the Blue Jays would be a first place or second place team on most divisions. 37-28. They'd be 1 game behind the Twins and 2.5 games behind the Astros. So that's where they're at. The thing is that I say that, and there's wishful thinking that the Blue Jays are a bad road team, but the White Sox are a bad home team. They're 13-17 at home. So if you can't defend your home and you can't beat your division opponents, you're not going to go anywhere.
I mean, like we said before, the best case scenario for the White Sox with all these players being down, even going into the month of July when they're going to face all these divisional opponents, is hopefully the worst case scenario. Honestly, is obviously just getting your ass kicked. But I mean, like the bottom of what you can call a salvageable month would be to still stay at 500 because that's kind of where they are right now. And like we talked last show, I mean the White Sox are only a few games better than the Cubs, which is incredible. It's an incredible stat and it's an incredible anomaly to happen when you look at a team that is basically consisted of at least half of the roster being minor leaguers versus even on a bad team, a lot of these players in the White Sox would be, starters. So, and those are the backups, right? So that's the weird thing about this team. It's very weird and it's very hard to figure out the White Sox right now. No idea what direction they're actually going. No idea what's going on in La Russa's head most of the time. I think he doesn't know what's going on in his head most of the time. I think there's an earpiece in there and be like, hey, do this, do that. And it's Jerry Reinsdorf. And you can't understand what the fuck that guy's saying anyway because he's hey, look, if La Russa's 157, then Jerry's 158.
Yeah, he was hanging out with Moses when Moses had short pants.
Hell yeah! I mean, they were in line for the first and second ever Social Security numbers. So, we'll see what happens in this month. And again, this is going to be the most interesting and telling month of the baseball season for the White Sox.
Yeah, definitely. They're a team to watch. The thing is that they have so much talent, and if everyone was healthy on the team, we'd probably be a better team. We'd probably be in first place. But let's just be honest right now: the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, Houston, those are the cream of the crop. The White Sox are nowhere near those teams.
That's right. And the White Sox, again, like I said last week, you got to get your shit together because if not, you're going to be out. You don't end up out on the New York City sidewalk with the rest of the trash. Because this is not a good look. Chicago, we need something to root for, right? We have no idea what's going to happen with the Bears, right? The Cubs are a lost cause right now. The Bulls, we're just trying to get Levine back, and they weren't even as good as we expected last year, right? The Blackhawks are a fucking mess.
Yep.
So, Sox, you got to be our saviors. Go out there, do your thing, kick some ass, and that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line.
All right, fans, we'll be right back with Stirring the Pot after a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride. So do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
We all know that 2020 was no joke, and with an ever-changing world climate, many people are looking for a new opportunity. Guys, are you looking for a career that rewards effort and makes you feel valued as a team member? Let me tell you a little about our friends at ACSI. ACSI is a certified RCN business agent. They provide the same RCN services with a personalized touch. Their sales and technician teams work hand in hand, ensuring your experience will be smooth and pleasant. Gone are the days of being transferred from one person to the next. At ACSI, they handle everything from start to finish. It's never been so easy to get internet service. ACSI is a growing Chicagoland company that encourages personal growth and rewards perseverance. As they expand, they're looking for passionate, responsible, and honest professionals to join their team. A career with ACSI means you'll be part of a hardworking, flexible, and dynamic team that is a leader in the installation of cable and internet services in the Chicagoland area. Best of all, ACSI was awarded Hacia's 2020 Contractor of the Year Award. Are you ready to grow with a local Chicago company on the rise? Check out acsi.tech and click on careers to get started. That's acsi.tech and click on careers.
Hey, what's up? This is Lex Cruz from Jungle AE Recording Studios and Illinois Media School, and you are now listening to True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yes, sir.
It's that time again, brother.
Uh-oh.
You know what time it is.
Oh, boy.
It's time for Stirring the Pot. All right, brother. I'm going to send you this picture, so check your phone real quick.
Uh-oh.
It is summertime, so it is time to wait for that beautiful song that you hear when the ice cream truck rolls by the neighborhood and you get it to stop and you have to pick your ice cream, sir. So there's about 28 different good humor ice creams on this little picture I just sent you. And I want you to pick one and let's see if that's a winner or a loser.
All right, man. So this might be the most aggressive Stirring the Pot of all time, because why is there 30 different things to choose from? I mean, it looks like on here you got those Sunkist Pops, the Fudgicles, Creamsicles. You got the WWE sandwiches. You got the Super Mario, with the little bubblegum nose.
Yep.
The frog, the frozen banana, with the firecrackers, the push-ups, the ice cream sandwich with the little chocolate chips in the middle, and then you got your strawberry shortcake in the middle, your chocolate eclair. I'm gonna tell you, the one that I know as an adult that's probably the most delicious one on here is probably that Magnum chocolate bar. It's like that Dove chocolate where like you normally you pay like $8 for like 8 things of ice cream, but the ones that are really good is like $8 for 1 or 2 ice creams in the bar. So that's probably the best one. As an adult, you're like, yeah, that's probably gonna be amazing. But the one that I'm gonna go with the classic that I always remember as a kid, and that's going to be the chocolate eclair right in the middle with the crunch on the inside.
The chocolate crunch.
And chocolate ice cream in the middle. I mean, to me, like, you look at all the fruit ones, I was never a big fan of like artificial fruit flavoring. Chocolate, chocolate is chocolate. You can fuck up chocolate real easy, but But that was just the one when I was a kid. I felt like that was like a delicacy versus like a push pop or some of this other bullshit with a bubblegum nose. I don't need none of that. I think if I was gonna go for a second, it might have to be that WWE superstar sandwich. But I mean, like, yeah, just for the sake of my own
12-year-old Eddie.
nostalgia.
12-year-old Eddie. Which is he picking?
Oh, no, that's what I said. For me as a child, for the sake of nostalgia, I'm going for that eclair bar.
Okay, so the chocolate crunch eclair.
The chocolate crunch eclair, classic.
All right. You know what? I'm not a big chocolate person, so I'm not gonna knock it because right next to it is my favorite one, which is the strawberry shortcake one.
See, and then that's that artificial strawberry flavor.
Yeah.
That's not. Ugh.
It's all artificial unless you're picking the fruit yourself. It's all artificial.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Well, that's yeah. Second would have to be the WWF. Cookie sandwich. I mean, that thing was just delicious, and unfortunately, they stopped making those. But I don't know. I mean, you don't like the push pop. I mean, I think like the 5-year-old me would be like, yeah, let me get the push pop.
Hell no. Look, you know what is the oddest thing of all time is that as children, we accepted that we're eating like frozen mush out of a fucking toilet paper roll.
Yeah.
Like it was good. Like, yeah, let me lick the side of this toilet paper more. Like, what the? This is delicious. This is amazing. Like, get the hell out of here.
Is there anything that you would want to try that you've never tried on this list? Is it?
I'm looking around here. I mean, something that I haven't tried. You know, I think I've tried all of these things on there like at least once.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll say in the middle, they have like this double fudge bar that looks kind of good. It kind of looks like the firecracker, but it looks like it has like a chocolate flavoring instead. So maybe that one.
Okay, you're legit a chocolate fan. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean that's what I'm saying. Like artificial fruit was never like if I get like some really good like strawberry gelato or something like that tastes like the fruit that it's supposed to taste like, then yeah, I'm all for it. But I mean, like grape. There has been no point in history where that purple drink actually tasted like a grape. Like I've had grapes and I've had that purple shit. There's never been a time where I'm like it tastes exactly like.
There's no correlation there at all.
No, not even a little bit. Like at least chocolate. If I get a piece of chocolate, a chocolate bar, a fucking Kit Kat, a Snickers, or an ice cream, yeah, that's chocolate. Like it's a different shade of chocolate, but it's still chocolate, right? There's no way.
Just like you.
Purple is grape. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, baby.
What about the bomb pop? People love the bomb pop. I'm a fan of the bomb pop. Number 28.
Yeah, that's a firecracker, man.
Yeah, bomb pop, firecracker. It depends on what neighborhood you're in.
Yeah, it's fine, but I mean, like that, I feel like that thing right there, it's just different flavored, of the same juice, and they just dip it in 3 times. I mean, and all of that, I feel like that fucking thing, all I see is just a blue hand, right? You're holding it, you're trying to eat
your
the top,
lips,
and all the blue on the bottom just melts all over. You're like, hey, did you just, give a Smurf a hand job? Nope, I just had ice cream. Like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, I don't need it. I don't need it.
You've been saving that joke for a while.
And that's the thing too, is that like, if I'm going to go, I'm not going after the ice cream truck anymore. I'm going to go get something from the paleta man with his little cart right there. That's where I'm going.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I missed that.
And they've gotten real creative lately with some of the flavors, man. They've been snapping.
Oh yeah, if you ever go to Michoacana, they have like the actual fresh fruit in them. So, So, and you can pick all different flavors. Like you said, there's crazy flavors out there, and then you can dip them in whenever you want. Hot chocolate or caramel, whatever.
And I've seen them like you want cookies and cream. You can pick it up. There's a whole ass Oreo in it.
Yes.
You know what I mean, like or whatever banana nut. There's like actual chunks of banana. Like they kill it right there. They do it right.
Yeah, and those are worth paying the $4 or $5 for those, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because like I've been other places and I don't see it like in other places. I don't know how I'm sure there's other places that we see the carts or whatever. Now they have now you can actually go to like the ice cream store, the paleteria and all that stuff and just go and get it right there. But I feel like I don't see it as much as we did when we were kids.
No. I mean, unfortunately for me, I live between 2 grammar schools, so the ice cream truck passes around 3:15, 3:30. So I hear it every day, and then I always forget, or I never have cash on me. I'm like, let me get a banana split, From because the old man, it's the old man. He's been doing it forever.
And he's like, "What's a card?"
No, there's no card.
You're trying to get some elotes and stuff like that, and they're like, "No, hell no, I'm not taking Bitcoin. I'm not taking your electronic transfer. You can't sell me. You better bring the fucking cash." I'm not trying to report this shit.
All right, so we'll close that. You are a chocolate lover, so I have to be more creative with my stirring the pot and not, stir you towards chocolate. For lack of better
All right,
words.
man. Before we go, what you looking at? What are you watching that is not sports?
I was able to watch this cool ass movie on Netflix with Adam Sandler. It's called Hustle. So he is a scout for the Philadelphia 76ers. There's a lot of cameos of former players and rap artists and this and that. It's really good. It's well written. Jack Actor would call it a popcorn flip. So you can heat up your popcorn and sit down and enjoy a movie. So pretty much they show you the struggles of being a scout in the NBA, and they give a little bit of his backstory. It's a well-rounded cast. You have Steve Urkel's in there. Queen Latifah.
This was my watch as well. I actually watched it yesterday morning while we're getting ready to gear up for the Father's Day weekend, and I was like, look, I said, I'm up before anyone else, okay? You know what I mean? I got my coffee, I got my herbal refreshments right next to me, and I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna enjoy this. And basically the description that's on IMDb is a basketball scout discovers a phenomenal street ball player while in Spain and sees the prospect as his opportunity to get back into the NBA. Funny enough, I'm watching this movie and I'm watching the main character who is actually an NBA player right now. His name is Juancho Hernan Gomez, and he's been in the league for a while. And I'm looking, I was like, man, he looks familiar, but he was actually a pretty damn good actor. And funny enough, he had Anthony Edwards, who plays for, I believe, the Timberwolves, one of the first overall picks in the last couple of years. He kind of played his nemesis, and they were kind of trying to get into the NBA draft at the time. It was pretty unbelievable how you were able to just be completely immersed, and everyone was believable in this movie. You had Robert Duvall, who played the owner of the 76ers. You had Ben Foster, who once you look up IMDb, you're going to know exactly who that is. You had Kenny the Jet Smith in it. You had a ton of NBA talent. Of course, like you said, Jaleel White, Boban was in there trying to say that I'm 12. That guy's like 30 years old and has been there for a long time. Dr. J was in the movie. I mean, it was just fantastic the way that they presented it, the way that they kind of set it up for you. And the most amazing thing to me is that this was a true passion project for Adam Sandler. This is one of those movies where if you ever watch Uncut Gems, you know that he does definitely have a lane in a dramatic role. And for him, someone that loves basketball, that loves the NBA, that loves just shooting hoop, I mean, this was a perfect movie for him. And it was a really, really nice movie to sit down to enjoy. You don't know what's going to happen. They don't set it up that you're going to have automatic success by the player or by Sandler's character. And it was just a great, and this is probably, honestly, one of the greatest basketball movies of all time, even at this point.
Wow, you gave that a lot of praise. The greatest basketball movie of all time.
Yep. Tell me another basketball movie that gave you so much in-depth, so much emotion, so much up and down, so many NBA talents and scout and so much involvement with the NBA itself.
Oh yeah, with the NBA, no, there's really nothing like that that I can think of.
Like this.
I mean, if you go down the line of your basketball movies, your Coach Carter, your Hoosiers.
Okay.
Coach
Carter was fine for the time, but it's pretty corny if you watch it now.
No, agreed. That's what I was saying. I was going to tell you, it's really good for that time, and it was a true story, right? Coach Carter.
Yeah, Coach Carter was true.
Yeah, so I'm saying, it's Samuel Jackson. So it's a great movie, but like you say, if you watch it now, it's early 2000s, so it's super corny. Yes, it's very But what's another good basketball movie?
But and that's the thing, is that if you look up and down, like just Google best basketball movies, right? White Men Can't Jump. Great movie, right?
Yeah.
But then you look at the ones that are really centered around the NBA. There's not a ton. You got He Got Game, which is another great basketball movie. But then you got shit like Mike, right? Hoosiers, great movie. Celtic Pride, okay, corny.
Space Jam.
Right? They kidnapped the player. Uncle Drew, corny. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really a ton of basketball movies that are just that are in depth the way that this one is.
No, I mean, just to think about it now that I pulled it up like you asked me to. I've never seen Glory Road, and I've never seen The Way Back with Ben Affleck. So those
and that's a newer one. That's supposed to be really good too. But you like I said, look, you want to talk about NBA? You got Thunderstruck, right? That's when Kevin Durant had a movie and some kid like stole his shoes and he was able to play like Durant. These are corny ass movies.
Yeah, the kids movies. Yeah,
and that's the thing is that rebound with Martin Lawrence, like The Sixth Man, where like where one dude is a ghost. Space Jam, of course, but I mean like overall. You look at how many football movies there are out there, how many baseball movies there are out there. There are fantastic romanticism about baseball and the history. And you could sit there and we could name 15, 20 great baseball movies. You can't name me more than 3 or 4 great basketball movies, especially ones that have to do specifically with the NBA. That's why I put it in this category.
Hoop Dreams is probably the closest thing to that.
Yeah. I mean, they're just not there.
No, they're not.
They're just not out there. So, like I said, this is a complete and total passion project. Once again, I talked last week about movies being believable. Do I believe that these characters are real people? This is one of those movies where you're rooting for the kid, you're rooting for Adam Sandler, you're rooting for it to all work out for them, and they actually did a fantastic job of tying up all the ends. And you do have a pretty much a nice clean ending. It's not the ending that you thought it was going to be.
Right.
It kind of gave you a little bit of difference there.
Yeah, little curveball at the end, and I thought it was nice the way Adam finishes the movie with his last quote. Telling was it Anthony Edwards?
No, it was no. You're talking about Anthony. Yeah, Anthony Edwards was in the league as well, but it was Bo Cruz, his boy Bo Cruz.
Oh yeah.
The Cruz missile.
No, but he was telling his 76 player. I forgot what he was on the team. He gives him that little.
Who is that? Damn, I don't remember his name right now. I see his face in my head right now. But yeah, exactly. He was like, "Hey, I'm giving you a tip. I'm your coach. This is what you do against that guy. He likes to go to his left. He likes to go to his right." So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, was it sports? Abso-fucking-lutely. But I mean, this is one of those movies, right? Like, but it was a sports movie, right? So it's not technically sports. But I couldn't honestly, like, this is a movie that I'll probably watch like once a week until it's off of Netflix, right?
Yeah, I'll give it a couple more watches just because I want to find more intricacies and see more cameos. And like I really watched the credits because I was like, wait, that was an NBA player, right? And then you see like the credits, you're like, oh yes, that's that guy. Yeah, because I mean, I'm not a Mike Logic basketball head where I know everyone on every roster for NBA. I'm more of an MLB guy. So that was just it. So great movie. Give it a watch.
It was Tobias Harris.
There we go.
Yep.
Yes, he's actually on the team.
Yeah, because you had Tobias Harris in there. They talked about trading Embiid during the movie. The Matisse Thybulle in the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's jam packed with NBA stars, NBA talent, and people around the NBA. Kenny, like I said, Kenny Smith playing a character versus just playing himself. A lot of guys.
Yeah, that was surprising.
The Spanish national team had a bunch of their players on there too, so it was just I don't know, man. It blew me out of the water like how good it actually was versus like what you kind of expect out of a lot of these movies.
Yeah, I mean that was what was his name? The Spanish national team was actually like 2 or 3 guys that were in the NBA.
It was like Jose Calderon.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. All right, before we get out of here, I want to acknowledge a couple things, a couple guys that have passed away, and this is WWE related. Dave Hebner passed away, longtime referee. He's the twin brother of Earl Hebner. If you ever watched wrestling in the 90s, you know exactly who I'm talking about, just because they were there from the late 80s all the way through the 90s in WWE, and I think Earl is still refereeing, and his son is also still refereeing. So he passed away at 73. And then also, I think that today, Tim White, longtime WWE referee, passed at 68. Tim White was there in the 80s and early 90s, but he was also Andre the Giant's assistant and one of his best friends. So that is a big loss for the wrestling community and for their families.
All right, y'all, that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, happy Father's Day to all the heads out there, and happy Juneteenth, a day to celebrate what this nation is right now, what it should be. All right. But yeah, we thank you so much. Thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, ACSI, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 at checkout for 15% off of your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your shirts right now. And check out our guy Danny and his friends over at ACSI.Tech and check out their career section to start an exciting new career in the communications industry. Go to ACSI.Tech. That's ACSI.Tech and click on careers to apply today. The Shine Native Radio podcast is now available on all major platforms. Mike Logic, Ideal, and Throw MC talk about sports, movies, and all types of ill shit. Go and check them out. And if you got music, share it to them. If they like it, they'll play it. If they don't, they will clown you. So make sure you give them some good shit. And a very special event is coming to you live and direct. The Music in the Woods Music Festival is coming up on August 13th at Big Bend Lake in Des Plaines. It's right off of Bender Road and Gulf Road. Ideal, Mike Logic, Fury, Green Lights Music, AM Early Morning, I Am God, John Bovey. I mean, there are so many acts out there. Check them out. This was a great event a couple years ago. They had to put on hiatus because of the pandemic, right? They didn't want anyone to get sick. So it's really dope that they were able to bring this back. Tickets are available right now at idealraps.com. That's idealraps.com.
This is an all ages event. A ticket is needed for ages 12 and above. Food vendors and merchandise vendors will be on site for your pleasure.
That's right. So bring your money and spend some of it and leave happy and fat and enjoy the music, because there is nothing better in the city of Chicago, in the surrounding areas, than being able to support to celebrate and support our local musicians, our local artists, and all that good stuff. So make sure you check them out. And don't forget, check out Serious Beats, check out Ronesh, check out Panic Custom Made. These are all people that gave us music to play on today's show. Check out paniconthebeat.com for all your Momen merch and gear. Don't forget, check us out on social media. You can find us at True Chi Fans on Twitter. That's at True CHI Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and reach out to us. Hit the DMs. Tell us what you think about the show. Tell us how many people you shared the show with. Your stories about, connecting with your family over something silly that we said. We love hearing it all. Stirring the pot. Movie recommendations, all that. And also, you can hit us up at True Chicago Sports Fans at gmail.com. All right, y'all. For Big Z, this is E-Rock. We will see you next week for episode 102. Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Swish.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth.
Lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos.
Show's over, show's over, show's over.